NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell suspended Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons indefinitely through at least the conclusion of the 2022 season for betting on NFL games in the 2021 season. The activity took place over a 5-day stretch during November 2021 when he was on the non-football injury list while dealing with mental health issues. So here's some of the stuff that's come out. The NFL said its investigation uncovered no evidence that Ridley used inside information or, quote, that any game was compromised in any way, okay? There's also no evidence that any of the Falcons' coaches, staff, or players were aware of his betting activity. That's a quote. The NFL determined that Calvin Ridley placed multi-leg parlay bets involving 3, 5, and 8 games that included the Falcons to win, per source. Because that's an issue, right? Like, you don't want him to, obviously, if he's betting on the Falcons to lose, that's a very bad thing. Especially if he's playing. He wasn't playing at the time. He was betting on the Falcons to win as part of a parlay. Okay, these are just the facts. The investigation determined that there was no involvement from any team players, coach, etc., placed via his mobile device out of state. The CBA warns that players are liable for suspension if they fix games. I should hope so. Bet on games, whatever, or even knowingly associate with gamblers or gambling activity. I don't see how that part is possible. You're not going to associate it like in the modern era. Integrity of the game clause, the commissioner will have the right, but only after giving the player the opportunity for a hearing at which he may be represented by counsel of his choice, right? Okay, that's the integrity of the game clause. He has the right to fine a player in a reasonable amount or suspend a player for a period certain or indefinitely and or to terminate his contract. This is according to the last NFL collective bargaining agreement. Integrity of the game clause. Okay. Key, what are your thoughts on what's going on with Calvin Ridley?
Can't do it, man. You cannot do it. It's clearly stated in the CBA. You cannot bet on games, whether you're playing, not playing. You are an active member of the National Football League. You have a contract with a football team. You cannot bet on games. How hard is that to understand? I don't get it. I don't care. They say, well, the investigation shows that he used no inside information. He doesn't have to disclose he got inside. He is the inside information. He doesn't need somebody to tell him what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons. The guy knows what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons. So, he just can't do it, man.
I mean,
can't
professional gamblers also know what's going on with the Atlanta
Not
Falcons.
like nowhere near, Max. Nowhere near a current player in the National Football League. I don't give a damn what I don't give a damn what Vegas tell you. Mm-hmm. They don't know what's going on inside that locker room the way players do.
No,
I don't care.
By the way, that's fair, Key. The point you're making, just to be clear, is not an integrity of the game point. I mean, or it is a game, but the game is not football. The game is gambling. What you're talking about, having inside information, provided the player's only betting on his own team to win, not lose, right?
It doesn't matter.
Wait a minute. The integrity that you're protecting when you're saying he has inside information that he's trading upon, the game that is being referred to is the game of gambling, not the game of football. That's really what you're preserving there, according to that argument. Right?
But he has to have some knowledge, okay, to use to determine how he wants to place a bet. Mm-hmm. He has to have some knowledge to do that. He ain't just out there betting blind, I would hope.
No, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what you're preserving is the fairness of the gambling experience for people, not fairness of the football game. And the rule, the spirit of the rule is put in place to preserve the integrity of the football game, which Jay, the argument seems to me to be here.
If he were playing, Max, it would be outrageous.
Right, different.
Yes.
But the argument to me here seems to be slippery slope. You just don't want them touching gambling. If you investigate this case on its own merits, to me, there seems to be a minor ethical infraction and zero moral infraction here. I don't think this is a big deal.
I don't think it's a big deal either.
I thought he should have got slapped on the eye
because he wasn't participating. He wasn't an active participant. He was on the sidelines. So
betting on his own team to win.
My thing is, if you want to slap him on the wrist with a fine. But to say that you're not going to play the 2022 season, I think that's crazy, especially when I get frustrated when I see leagues that are
I can't listen to y'all right now,
That's
man.
Fine. You can listen for a second. When they get billion-dollar deals with gambling companies, when Tom Brady is the face of DraftKings. You have all these deals that are in place, but now you're going to say, hey, we're accepting billions of dollars. Be part of this. This is the future of our organization. But now a guy who openly came to you and said, yeah, I had a $1,500 parlay. I hit that last night
on my team to win.
Yeah. On my team to win.
Yeah.
And other games around the league while I'm not participating. Now you're going to make him a harsh example. But what, Key?
You didn't play in the NBA last night. You're not on an NBA roster. The NBA is not paying you right now.
Key,
you cannot do that.
Key, you're telling me, let's have a real conversation.
Yes.
You're telling me athletes in the NFL don't tell their friends what's going on teams so their friends can bet on games?
Here's what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be real. I can't tell you what other people do. I can only speak to what I've done.
Well, I can tell you what goes on because I know.
Which is no. I would never. I know. No.
Because gambling is becoming normalized now.
No.
It's becoming something.
I understand
legalized in more and more states.
I get it.
People are growing up with this. So
I understand it. It is in a collective bargaining agreement. You cannot engage with gambling whatsoever while you are in the National Football League. You cannot be with
jaywalk, but people still jaywalk.
Key, can I point something out? It seems to me to be the philosophical difference seems to me here to be something that comes down. We experience this often on the show. Key, it seems to me you are a rules follower. You think it's and
well, I mean, it depends on the rules.
Right. Well, no. I would say by and large, you have figured out in your life the wisdom that you've acquired over your life. Part of it's just like, someone's personality, and part of it is what you discover, is that life is very simple if you follow the rules.
Absolutely, 100%, Max.
I get it, and that's one of the reasons you were a great football player, especially in football. That serves you very well, right?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.